everybody, and welcome to Movie Recaps with Brit. Today, we will be taking a look at a movie titled Our Shining Days. Without further ado, let's get started. In China's prestigious music academy, a continuous competition arises among students proficient in classical European music, and those devoted to traditional Chinese melodies. The classical musicians regard the Chinese music performers as lacking sophistication, while the Chinese band perceives the classical orchestra members as haughty. The palpable animosity between them permeates their daily school routine, prompting the faculty to erect a metal barrier at the entrance of the Chinese music department. This measure aims to prevent any interaction between the two groups, as their disagreements occasionally escalate into physical altercations. Since the classical music learners receive greater attention from the instructors due to their belief in its promising future, they hold an advantage over other students. Consequently, the Chinese music ensemble finds itself reduced to a mere duo, consisting of Chen Jing, an unconventional Yuchang player, and her closest companion Li Yu, a percussionist. To compound matters, Chen Jing harbors affection for Wang Wen, an accomplished classical pianist who remains oblivious to her existence. Unexpectedly, one morning, several classical musicians astonish everyone by approaching the Chinese music students. They propose a unique opportunity. Their group will be performing at a prestigious concert hall, and Wang Wen requires assistance as a page-turner. Though the Chinese musicians initially wish to distance themselves from this proposal, Chen Jing seizes the chance to be nearer to her crush and readily accepts the offer. Despite her assistance, Chen Jing still faces a lack of acceptance. On the day of the concert, they relegate her to a seat on the bus alongside a violin, as the reserved spot was intended for the instrument. Being present in a music hall provides Chen Jing with an entirely new experience. As she gazes at Wang Wen's heartfelt performance, she envisions herself playing in such an exquisite venue, with Wang Wen reciprocating the attention. Following the concert, Chen Jing divulges her own musical aspirations to Wang Wen and confesses her affection for him. Regrettably, Wang Wen fails to recognize her instrument's name and dismisses her as insignificant. Fueled by anger, Chen Jing channels her emotions into productive action. Determined to prove Wang Wen wrong, she resolves to revive the Chinese music band and showcase their talents on a stage. Regrettably, the school declines to allocate resources for their seemingly doomed project, leaving Chen Jing and Li Yu to shoulder all the burdensome tasks themselves. Their initial efforts involve distributing flyers and displaying posters to attract younger students. However, their flyers are disregarded or met with laughter, and the posters are defaced or concealed by the classical music students. Chen Jing reaches the point of giving up, but Li Yu proposes an idea. They could enlist the students from room 502, a clique of 4 introverted girls who typically keep to themselves in the dorm. Thus, Chen Jing crosses paths with Yingzi, a timid girl who prefers written communication on her phone over verbal interaction, Bebe and Tata, a duo of avid gamers, and Xiaomai, the assertive leader of the group who swiftly attempts to evict Chen Jing from their shared living space. Still determined, Chen Jing recalls Li Yu's advice and proposes a weekly offer of purchasing an anime collectible for the girls as an incentive to join. This proposition is promptly accepted. At their initial official gathering, the group deliberates potential names for their bands. However, Chen Jing's suggestions fail to resonate with the girls. In response, they suggest the name 2.5 Dimension, symbolizing the amalgamation of 2D and 3D realms, which resonates with their self-perception as otakus. Chen Jing reluctantly agrees to this name in order to retain the girls' participation. The subsequent task involves locating a suitable rehearsal space, but the teachers once again reject their plea for assistance. Ultimately, it is Li Yu who discovers a solution. He persuades the security guard to grant them access to the practice hall once the classical music students have concluded their session. They secure an hour after 9 p.m., beyond the official closing time when the teachers are not present. Later in the evening, they eventually commence their inaugural rehearsal after engaging in a disagreement regarding the song selection. Surprisingly, the guard joins them for the final 20 minutes of the session as per their agreement, desiring to participate briefly as a vocalist. The following day, Chen Jing witnesses Yingzi being targeted by the classical music students and promptly intervenes alongside Li Yu, compelling the bullies to apologize under the threat of damaging their violin bows. This incident enlightens Chen Jing about the underlying cause of Yingzi's silence, which stems from bullying. In response to Chen Jing's support, Yingzi expresses gratitude and declares that figurine rewards are no longer necessary. When Xiaomai arrives to observe the situation, she inadvertently drops a ring in her haste. Upon discovering the ring, Li Yu promptly identifies it as belonging to a music streamer. It appears that Xiaomai has an online persona known as Lightning Fingers, and her Guzheng skills have garnered a respectable following. The other girls were already aware of this and occasionally participate in her live streams. Chen Jing and Li Yu express their desire to join her, but Xiaomai declines Chen Jing's request since she considers herself a casual player compared to Xiaomai and her friends, who have dedicated significant effort to studying various aspects such as the history of Chinese music and ancient forms of the Chinese language. Although Liu possesses more knowledge on the subject than Chen Jing, Xiaomai rejects his request due to not meeting their desired anime-inspired aesthetic. Determined to establish a stronger bond with the girls, Chen Jing immerses herself in reading manga and spends time in their dormitory. Additionally, she endeavors to learn more traditional songs, even though her singing abilities in that domain are limited. Their daily routines bring enjoyment, and the progress is so satisfactory that after several days, Xiaomai finally acknowledges their competence as a band. Consequently, she extends an invitation for them to perform alongside her at the upcoming anime convention. On the designated day, the band takes the stage following a troupe of idols. However, the audience displays disinterest in traditional Chinese music, causing them to disperse, leaving only a small cluster of Xiaomai's online supporters. To assist, Liu decides to remove his jacket and glasses, demonstrating his ability to be endearing as well. This action captures the attention of a few girls. As soon as the band commences their performance with delightful proficiency and enthusiasm, the crowd returns to exhibit their encouragement, as they genuinely appreciate the band's sound. Following the show, Chen Jing is astounded when approached by enthusiastic teenagers eager to learn more about her instrument. Xiaomai shares their performance video on her channel and receives numerous positive comments, including praise from fellow students who begin to perceive them as more impressive than expected. Chen Jing's self-esteem is deeply affected by this and, fueled by her extensive reading of romance manga, she resolves to make another attempt with Wang Wen by preparing a heartfelt confession. In the evening, outside the classical music building, Chen Jing appears with a heart-shaped arrangement of candles and accompanied by the flute melodies played by another Chinese music student. Upon Wang Wen's emergence, Chen Jing publicly expresses her love for him in front of a substantial portion of the school. However, Wang Wen once again rejects her, hurting her feelings by criticizing her efforts and musical abilities, leading to her tears. This triggers another dispute among the onlookers regarding the contrasting music styles. To quell the escalating tension, Wang Wen attempts to extinguish the candles, but mistakenly grabs turpentine instead of water, resulting in an unintentional fire. Fortunately, Liu acts swiftly and brings an extinguisher to quell the fire. He then sternly lectures Wang Wen, drawing upon his knowledge of music history to discuss the origins of the piano compared to Chinese instruments. Liu also emphasizes that prioritizing the appeasement of foreigners for the sake of studying abroad may lead to negative consequences in the future. As Wang Wen departs in shame, Chen Jing finds inspiration in Liu's bravery and predicts that one day, Wang Wen will regret his disparagement of Chinese music. The following day, Chen Jing decides to disband the band, distributing figurines to each member, believing that she no longer has any reason to continue fighting since Wang Wen has permanently rejected her. However, the decision leaves everyone visibly unhappy, and Chen Jing fails to comprehend why, as their initial motivation for joining was solely based on acquiring the toys rather than genuine interest. The girls find themselves perplexed as they genuinely enjoy playing their instruments. When Chen Jing reveals that she only plays the yangqin due to her mother's insistence, Xiaomai accuses her of betrayal. It becomes apparent that Chen Jing never had a true passion for their shared pursuit, leading the girls to leave, tearfully returning the figurines to her. After a few days, everyone departs for their respective homes during the summer vacation. This period proves exceptionally challenging for the otaku girls, as they face neglect and criticism from their families for their interests. Liu is compelled to attend a summer institute, driven by his parents' desire for him to study abroad. Meanwhile, Chen Jing contends with her mother, Mrs. Chen, constantly playing traditional Chinese music, which engenders guilt within her for the band's unfortunate outcome. Weary of the mounting pressures, Chen Jing musters the courage to inform her mother that she wishes to quit learning the yangqin, to which Mrs. Chen simply responds with a straightforward okay. Chen Jing is taken aback by the lack of response, and she points out that her father had mentioned her mother's desire for her to learn the yangqin. Surprisingly, Mrs. Chen bursts into laughter. It turns out that Chen Jing's father mistakenly assumed her mother's wish, based on her request for Chinese music during childbirth. Mrs. Chen doesn't mind if Chen Jing lacks interest in the instrument. However, she believes that Chen Jing won't be able to quit playing the yangqin because it has guided her into this world, implying a destined connection between them. Contemplating this revelation, Chen Jing spends the remaining summer reflecting and reconnecting with her instrument. As the new school year begins, an announcement is made about the Education Bureau organizing a youth concert, with the classical music students being encouraged to participate. Additionally, it is explained that their middle school will not admit new students from the following year, provoking Xiaomai's anger. She passionately defends the Chinese music program and insists on being allowed to apply for the youth concert. In support of Xiaomai's plea, Chen Jing confidently asserts that they have a band, garnering the backing of the other otaku girls and Liu. The enthusiasm displayed by the Chinese music students motivates other students from the same department to offer their support. However, the teacher dismisses their offer, citing the school's reputation and the need for a well-practiced band like the classical music students. Once the teacher departs, the classical music students mock the Chinese music group, igniting yet another argument. Liu intervenes and proposes a solution, a music showdown between the two groups to determine the best, a challenge accepted by Wang Wen. At a later time, an official from the Ministry of Education visits the school for an inspection and is taken aback upon seeing the gate leading to the Chinese music department. The teachers attempt to divert the official's attention towards the classical building, but this is precisely when both bands emerge and deliver powerful performances. Both groups have put in significant effort, and their displays are remarkable, earning applause from both the official and the teachers who pretend it is part of the tour. The official is deeply moved by how the students have merged Eastern and Western influences in their art, emphasizing that there is no conflict in music. Consequently, he demands the removal of the gate, symbolizing the breaking down of barriers. Once the tour concludes and the ministry official departs, the teacher reprimands both groups for treating the inspection lightly, affirming his decision to have the classical music students perform at the youth concert. However, the Chinese music students approach the classical music students and highlight that their showdown resulted in a tie. They propose an idea to resolve the concert dilemma. Subsequently, the expanded Chinese music band begins practicing diligently, although Xiao Mai feels that their performance is lacking something. Overhearing their conversation, the guard suggests a solution, a set of dusty bianzhong, located in the school storage from a disbanded band, which the new band can utilize. In addition to their practice sessions, the band also spends time bonding as genuine friends, leading Beibei and Tata to notice Liyu's affection for Chen Jing and playfully teasing him about it. Finally, the day of the concert arrives, and the plan is set in motion. The classical music students proceed into the hall for their performance, but once inside, they hand over their passes to another student who escorts them to the Chinese music band waiting outside. This clever maneuver allows the Chinese music band to enter the building without arousing suspicion. Once the classical music band concludes their performance, Chen Jing's group takes the stage, buoyed by the support of Wang Wen. Their captivating show begins with a heartfelt song sung by the guard, followed by the incorporation of various elements to captivate the modern audience. Xiao Mai's online fans contribute lights and a hologram, while Beibei and Tata introduce electric guitars. The entire performance is streamed online, enabling their families and teachers to witness the spectacle. Their remarkable skills shine brightly on the stage, earning them a standing ovation and finally making their otaku girls' parents proud. In the evening, Liu escorts Chen Jing to the riverbank to marvel at the beautiful fireflies she adores. It's also an opportunity for him to express his feelings. He encourages Chen Jing to peruse her social media photos, which are adorned with filters and stickers, but then surprises her by sharing the genuine, unfiltered pictures he has taken of her. Chen Jing swiftly comprehends Liyu's affectionate message and assures him that he can continue capturing countless more memories in the future. Several weeks later, the band joyfully observes the Ministry of Education's official introducing his daughter to join the Chinese music department, while a fresh cohort of enthusiastic first-year students eagerly prepares to carry forward their cultural heritage. Thank you for watching our movie recap. While it may seem simple, it actually took a lot of hard work and dedication to produce. If you enjoyed the video, we kindly ask you to show your support by liking and subscribing to our channel. By doing so, you'll stay updated on our latest content and help us continue creating more in-depth analyses and critiques of the movies you love. Thank you again for your support.